Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we're doing a retrospective review of Skinner. Madness is only skin deep.
Directed by Ivan Nagy, starring Ted Raimi, Ricki Lake, and Traci Lords. This movie's about a guy named Dennis Skinner.
My friends call me Denny.
Who is fond of skinning people alive. After moving to a new city, the hunter becomes hunted by an ex-half-skinned victim in a cool hat.
If you're unfamiliar with the retrospective series, we just talk about the movie mostly. We spoil a lot of stuff, so if you haven't seen it, definitely watch the movie first.
You had your chance.
Yeah.
It was 1993.
Otherwise, we're just gonna talk about the movie, but in a similar fashion that you're used to.
So what do we like?
I like seeing Ted Raimi in like a lead role. It's very few and far between where we actually see him doing anything for more than 2 minutes in any movie. We've seen him as a condom salesman.
I like children.
We've seen him in Intruder. We've seen him have bit parts in a lot of different things. And he did a fairly good
It
job.
was over the top in parts, but I think it really worked for the role. And I actually think he nailed it. He did a great job.
He's like the right kind of nerd mixed with like psycho killer. It's like he can get by with the average folk. And they just think, oh, that guy's just a weird programmer type. Kind of like CJ.
Right.
But who knows what happens at night or during the day when he stalks his prey.
Are you for sale?
You know, he's just kind of awkward and always smiling no matter what, if he's just interacting with somebody or skinning them alive. He kind of had the same persona, and that was eerie. That was good. It was well done. I thought he really creeped me out.
If I was Ricki Lake and like offering a place to stay, like at first I'd be like, yeah, okay, this guy's kind of fine.
Seems respectable.
Seems like a normal guy.
Glasses.
Obviously, when he starts caressing water and drinking it like a fucking son of a bitch, I'd certainly be like, what the fuck, dude? And I'm happy that Ricki Lake actually called him on that.
Dennis.
And I'd like Ricki Lake. She played Carrie. She was the person who rented a room out to him.
You mean you'll take it?
Yeah.
Great, I guess, make yourself at home.
I want to say, I used to love Ricki Lake back in the day. She had an old-time talk show back in the like mid-90s. But seeing her in this, she was like a nice, normal person who was just like kind of hard up on money and maybe a little bit more naive than the average person.
Right. I feel like there was some sexual tension there.
I think there definitely was.
Will they, won't they? And then will he just kill her instead?
Because you also weren't sure what his intentions were when he's like humping the door sometimes.
Yeah. Always just pushing himself up against her door. She's very intrusive as a landlord, I'd say, actually. She just kind of barges in whenever she wants. Oh, I saw some blood on your towel. I thought I'd investigate your room.
I'm looking for clues.
I'll just wash this for you.
Speaking of that, we got Carmen Sandiego, aka Traci Lords. She played our victim who has been half scarred from her body being skinned, but it looked more like a burn.
But I don't know what it looks like when you've been skinned.
It could have been 5 years of skin growing back. That's what it looks like. She's been hunting this guy for quite a while. She's finally found him. She's got her little box of tools, which is just like syringes to basically keep herself going.
And also, like, incapacitate other people. She was an unlikely protagonist because she wasn't really likable.
She actually murdered people along her way.
Who'd she kill?
That guy that tried to eat her out.
Oh, yeah, I guess she might have. Well, he was laying in a pool of blood anyway.
She kind of played a cool character too. Well, a little bit different from the rest of the cast. She was much more mysterious, but she just had this mystique about her, which seemed pretty cool. She seemed like a detective, even though she was certainly just like...
tracking him.
The practical effects in this film were dope.
Okay, explain that a little bit. What do you mean?
So the Skinner obviously skins people.
Yep.
And when you go into a movie about a guy skinning people, you want to see good skinnings.
You want to see a suit made of people.
And we got it.
Did not disappoint.
We got a couple different skins and a very detailed skin peeling
manual
off the back. It looks so realistic.
That part was too well done for my liking. I'm telling you, I'm going to have nightmares tonight because of that.
The lighting in general of the movie was pretty good, but that scene had like some different interesting like artistic flair to it. And then also with the big reveal of Heidi's scars, you have some pretty good lighting that accentuates the reveal. There's just something about the whole atmosphere between Dennis, just like his obsession with water, which was so awkward. Him walking around like this graffiti-filled city, picking up hookers, skinning them, not knowing his motives.
Well, I guess his motive was that he saw his dad skin his dead mom.
He reached over and he pulled my mother's face off.
This movie just had like some kind of adventure to it. There's always something happening because you're really interested in Dennis and you're really interested in Heidi and you're interested in seeing like Carrie and Jeff's relationship while all of this other stuff is happening.
Right.
Even though that's just such a subplot,
I
you're
think
still
that's what it is.
interested. You're like, okay, he's a Mack truck driver. He doesn't like Dennis in the house. When's that confrontation gonna happen? There's a lot of tension that's kind of built up because you know that all of these parties have to exist in the same scene at some point.
The birds.
When's it gonna happen?
What are the birds gonna do?
I thought they were gonna get skinned or defeathered at least. Although there was that chicken
There
thing.
was up another bird. Okay, that's
Okay.
what we like. Well, what do we dislike? I think it's a little harder to find dislikes. I really thought it was a good movie all around.
Same.
There was maybe, too much daytime. Maybe a lot of his lurking would have been a little better, more convincing at night.
Especially coupled with the dialogue where it even suggested it was night when it was daytime.
Do you want it or not? I haven't got all night.
It's 12 o'clock,
It's
easy.
noon.
Good morning, ma'am. I would argue in a movie called Skinner that there wasn't enough skinning. Okay. Yes, the skinning that we did see was excellent, and the aftermath with the skin suits was awesome. However, it did jump in time a couple times, especially with Earl. I think the Earl confrontation would have been fun. Earl was a boxer that he sliced up.
Right, yeah. When he killed Earl, it was just jumped over.
It was totally off screen, and a couple of these kills were off screen. Even like having one of the hookers tied up and he's about to skin her and it just jumps away. And that's fine because it does build up that one intense scene, and maybe that intense scene wouldn't have been as intense had we seen that other stuff. But at the same time, I always want a little more gore.
There's a lot of, I don't know, maybe it's artistic and I don't understand the whole water theme, but he was always walking ankle deep in water, pouring water on his face instead of drinking it, just running it on his hands. There's lots of water stuff going on.
Right, which was never explained, unfortunately. It's great to have quirks with especially like psycho killers, but that wasn't explained. He had a bunch of time to do like monologues and stuff, but he never mentioned the water. Yeah, sure, it could be like trying to wash himself clean of his sins, because that's usually what it's representative of, but it wasn't really explained. And the fact that like we also had the other girl, Heidi, doing kind of a similar thing, just walking through the water at least, because there's no way that she needed to follow him through this pond or lake or whatever the hell
It really
was.
seemed like they were coming from the
Like
middle of
like
the
a
lake.
far
Just-
place. They just
yeah.
walked from across like an island, and we're going through the water and walking
It
to
reminded
the
me
other
of
island.
like Monty Python's Flying Circus. The way they introduced each show was like this haggard guy with a big beard. It would be like a full minute of him like struggling, walking through water for just like 100 meters just to go, it's, and then like
That's
Monty
it?
Python's Flying Circus. Yeah, it was like
Really?
the whole- yeah.
John C.
And it probably dragged on kind of like that sometimes too, because there were times where Heidi has her whole side's been half skinned.
Yeah,
And-
she didn't really have a strategy for hunting down this guy who's definitely more fit and able than she is.
There's like even that one time where he straight up like jukes her out and just like runs off screaming, does a lap around the block, and then knocks that bitch out. How do you not hear that coming? It's one of those movie moments that you're just like, oh, remember that scene. I will never forget that scene because it's fucking hilarious. But why did it exist? I also didn't really love the ending. The ending was kind of lackluster because there's a lot of stuff that you want to know more about. You want to know more about Heidi's past. You want to know about their relationship, why Heidi hated him so much. Obviously, he tortured her to some extent, but I want to know more about that. They fell down and lied together as if there was some kind of love interest there, and she even suggested that there could be some kind of love interest by keeping his picture and touching it all the time. I wanted to see more to that story, and unfortunately, we don't get that. We also don't know what the outcome is. It seems like everybody lives.
Maybe open for a sequel?
If they're doing like new sequels to Halloween in 2018,
Right?
they can do another sequel to Skinner.
Never too late. Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings.
I actually really enjoyed this film. It was a blind buy. I saw Ricki Lake and Ted Raimi and Traci Lords on the cover and was like, fuck yes. And I'm happy we watched it because I like seeing Ted Raimi in things, but usually he's just like a background character. In this one, he had a full-fledged weirdo going on, and he killed it. So did Traci Lords in her role, which was significantly different than his. And Ricki Lake was solid as well. I just like the combination of the 3 different stories from 3 people that I actually know. We knew out the gate what the premise was, so it's really like a cat and mouse game. We have some cool skinning practical effects. We have some really fun moments with Ted Raimi and skin suits, and just fun Ted Raimi being a creep in general. Although I did wish that we had a little bit more of the background to his obsession with water and some of the past relations with Traci Lords. But at the end of the day, I really enjoyed myself. So I'm gonna give this 3.5 extreme black faces out of 5.
I felt this movie was great the whole way through. It kept me interested and engaged. Ted Raimi did an awesome job. He was truly creepy. He gave me the creeps for real. There was some great gore. The skinning scene was even maybe a little too good for me, if I'm being honest. Sincerely, the whole movie was great. I liked the, little side plots going on to just keep things interesting, and it didn't go stagnant the whole way through. And I would definitely recommend it. And so for that, I'm gonna give this movie, for the old cut the eyes out of the painting trick, out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. And we actually had the opportunity to do a commentary for this movie. First time watch. It's pretty funny, I think. Well, I'm a little biased.
Had fun.
Links in the description. Check that out on the Patreon. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.